Anywhere you go, give it all. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
What is up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well this Thursday morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the globe. Like always, guys, if you are enjoying the streams, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out the channel, and make sure you do hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Feel free to check out my Telegram group. I do post my updates there, trades, watches for the week, videos I create, all the good stuff. So if you are interested, make sure you go take a look down in the description below. But yeah, guys, welcome back to another stream. Umar first, as always. Hope you are doing well. Enrique, good morning, good morning. Pound USD will take a look. Moch, welcome back. The prodigal Moch has returned. Long time no see. Hope you're well. Hope you enjoyed your travels. Almost at 10k, to be fair. Only 300 and something left, 390 or something like that. So very, very close to first kind of big milestone, I would say. Day early, yeah. Thank you as well. I'm surprised you remembered. Much. I've got a good memory. But yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. But yeah, glad to have you back. Anus, as always, morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Pound USD loss, unfortunate, bro. I mean, yeah, if you risk 1%, you're still up 1% this month. So all is still good. All is still good. But yeah, it hasn't been a great month for me either, to be fair. Umar, what is up? The market is so scattered and manipulated towards the end of the month. No wins but losses. Is because some or what? Uh, I wouldn't say the market is so manipulated. I mean, I would say the market is just equally as manipulated as it is all year. But typically in the summer months, we're not seeing as much activity, not as much volume. Some of the bigger players are taking some breaks, but we should be seeing that volume come back in again pretty soonish. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's any more manipulated. I mean, the market's gonna be a bit more stagnant. It's gonna be a bit more difficult to catch some moves, and yeah, it's gonna be a bit difficult to find some good probability setups. So sometimes maybe force some trades where there isn't trades. So you might take a few more losses than you would do maybe when the market is moving and you're seeing good momentum. But yeah, I mean, again, it hasn't been a good month for me either. But again, it's all about the quality of the trades at the end of the day and just crunching out the numbers. Some trades can be wins, some trades can be losses. I wouldn't get too overly fixated that it's August. You know, yes, the volume is maybe a little bit lower, but you know, we still take some wins, we still take some losses. It's just all about staying consistent and make sure you're taking the best trades you can find. Much thanks. The king of moderators now. Miss you guys. The crown has shifted over to Adis. Hamza, what is up? Morning from Uganda. Big up. Welcome to the stream. Maybe shut. Yeah, exactly. Up 1%. So still a profitable month. And you cannot argue with a profitable month at all. Morning, Toka. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing good. What are you watching today? Can you give me your opinion on Nasdaq when you get the chance? Sure thing. Okay, I'll take a look at Pound USD first. Henrika did request it. Now I'll take a look at Nasdaq. I'm actually looking at Pound CAD this morning. It's actually not too far from my entry area, so I'll jump into it shortly. But we'll go through Pound USD and Nasdaq. So yeah, Pound USD broke to the upside. We had a very critical level of support running through the market over here at 1.26500-ish. So I did say coming to the week, as long as Pound USD stays below this level, I'm expecting a lot more downside. But what we did with Pound USD is we created some support just underneath it, and we failed to break through. We respected it 2 or 3 times before the market obviously pushed to the upside. We had some news. Now the market's coming back in some of these areas here. Now I still do favor sells for Pound USD. It's just not the best structure to do it in. You can see the daily chart as well. Really nice bullish structure. We created this kind of climatic high up there, and since then we've been on a steady bearish trend. Haven't really set the world alight, but we are starting to break through some lows here as well. So I do like the sells going forward with Pound USD. I still am bearish on the pair. But like I said, we're coming back into a ranging market here. It's very choppy in these areas. We've had a very strong impulse to the upside. We are coming back to some areas of supply resistance where we might see some downside. We are seeing that at the moment as well. But would I start looking for some shorts? No. Would I start looking for some longs? No as well. So with Pound USD, I would say I'm just a spectator with this pair. Yeah, I would say I'm just a spectator. Maybe there might be some long opportunities on the retest of some of these areas down here. There could be a shorter term long, but again, I would be quite careful with this pair because it's just very choppy. If you look to the left, you know, you can see what structure's been doing for quite a while. Could see sort of that happen again, and maybe a slow decline eventually to the downside after some choppy price action. So with Pound USD, I definitely would back off. I can see better opportunities elsewhere. If you're really looking at Pound, then maybe keep an eye on 1.26400. Wait to see what price action can do there. Maybe some short-term longs. I wouldn't push the trade too far because, like I said, daily's still looking a little bit bearish in my opinion. So buys for me are still kind of counter trend at the moment, even though we're sort of coming back into a range here. But yeah, I would still say I'm bearish on Pound USD, waiting for a bit more development and a cleaner setup to get back into some shorts. But at the moment, I am not seeing that. And yeah, I think the market's also getting ready for NFP as well tomorrow. Nasdaq. So yeah, Nasdaq, we did see a big push to the upside past couple days. So I have to be favoring more upside here for Nasdaq. Not from where we are right now. I wouldn't be looking to get long right now. We are coming to some areas on the 4H over here, which could send the market back down again. But I would say I'm bullish for this one. I was calling this area yesterday as a nice place to go long, down at 15,100. Obviously, the market came nowhere near that. But I still do fancy more upside. We may come back and respect this low over here and then potentially use that as a move to the upside. Or we might see a deeper retracement. We had a very, very hefty move to the downside. Could see something of the sort again for more continuations in the future. But yeah, for Nasdaq, I do favor buys. I do favor buys now. The market has obviously broken through the highs here. It creates the higher low in comparison to the prior low down there as well. So in my books, it does look like momentum starting to shift from the bears to the buyers as well. We had a very, very aggressive sell-off, but it didn't break for any structure. Market quickly turned that around to the upside as well. So Nasdaq, I do favor more upside. Could be looking at price coming back to some of these highs here on the left as the next kind of major targets. But I wouldn't look for buys just yet. I'd wait for some further corrections, maybe back down to 15,300 at least. Preferably 15,100, but I'm not too sure we'll get down there. But I'll keep an eye on those two areas for some longs. So yeah, Nasdaq, I would be bullish. The indices are mostly bullish right now, at least for the major US indices. US 30, I'm quite bullish as well. I do like the buy opportunities for this one, maybe a retest of this level or kind of a similar opportunity on Nasdaq as well. Retest of some supports down here for continuation later on. But yeah, on the higher time frames, I do fancy more upside. Let me know what you're looking at, Toka, on Nasdaq as well. I'll go take a look at pound CAD in a second. Moro, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Was looking out for your live. Hey, you found it, nice. Any page you're looking at, feel free to let us know. The blessing, what is up? Pound yen and NAS, sure thing. We'll take a look at pound yen because we just had a look at NAS, AUSD as well. Hasim, no problemo. So yeah, going forward with pound CAD, I do like the longs here. I did get into some longs last week. Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. I got in some longs down here. Really nice move to the upside, but momentum failed to sustain in my direction. With respect to some resistance up here, and the market came back down and took me out the trade for a loss there. But I'm planning to get back into the position, into some longs for pound CAD on the retest of this area here. I'm looking to see if we can find some broken resistance there, now turn support. On the higher time frames, I'm still bullish on pound CAD. Nothing has changed with my bias for pound CAD. As you can see, big resistance there. Was resistance, now turn support. Market didn't get underneath that. If we did break underneath that, then I'll probably be favoring more downside, but we respected it on the daily time frame. So now I'm looking for pound CAD to get back to the highs here on the left at 1.73-ish as the next major target. You can see being very, very consistent with the higher lows, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8. Could we see another move back to the highs there? So pound CAD on the higher time frame still chugging higher, still giving us higher lows. So I'm looking for that momentum to sustain and looking for another continuation higher. So pound CAD is on the top of the watch list at the moment, and I'm looking to see if I can get some nice buys down at this level here for a move higher. So could be looking at some buys pretty soonish for pound CAD, 1.71, 800, 71800, 700, this particular area here. Then I'll monitor that. If I can see nice shift of momentum, nice bullish engulf, I will look to enter some positions, stop loss underneath the level, and probably first targets either this high or that high, depending on the risk to rewards. And then if things go well, I'll be looking to target the highs all the way up there on the left. So yeah, that's the plan for pound CAD, and that's probably the only pair at the moment that looks good to me in terms of entries pretty soon. I think for the dollar pairs, I might wait till after NFP before I look to do anything. I mean, we'll take a look at them in a second, but yeah, I'll probably wait till after NFP. But yeah, pound CAD, I do like the longs for this one, so we'll be keeping an eye on the retest of that area. Could be getting a trade pretty soon if I see the necessary price action. Anyway, we'll take a look at pound yen and move on to AUD/USD. So yen pairs, last time I looked at the yen pairs, they were looking a tad bearish. Yeah, seeing some downside there. So I did say yesterday for pound yen, I'm still bullish on the pair. High time frames, daily time frame in particular, still very consistent with the higher highs and higher lows. As you can see, we've been flying to the upside. So I'm still pretty bullish on pound yen. I did say yesterday a retest of this area could be a nice place for some longs if we do get a healthy breakout. We did. Now we're looking for the retest, but as we can see, price is quite bearish right now. So we need to wait for the market to actually show some signs that, okay, we actually are holding this 185, 200 area. If not, of course, we could just crack straight through, which at the moment the market is definitely trying to do. But of course, the candle's still open. We could definitely pull back and leave behind the wick. So keep an eye on this area for pound yen. This looks like a lovely level to be looking to go long from. And pretty clear targets as well, back to the highs there on the left. And if things go well, potentially back to the highs there at 186,500 as well. So yeah, I do really like the longs of pound yen. Market dropped to the downside, had some equal lows down here, and then it started falling some higher lows with some higher highs as well. So now looking to see if we can find that next higher low for another shift to the upside, back to the higher 186. And we've got some lovely highs over there at 186,500. Eventually, we could be looking to target. But of course, if we don't get that confirmation, we might have a deeper retracement, but I'm not too sure else where I'd like to buy from. Potentially this area here does make sense. Broken support and resistance. Could be seeing a deeper pullback into 186.4, so that could be a potential area. But I would say this is my favorite level to long from. But at the moment, price is looking very, very bearish. So I would wait for some candle closures first before making any decisions. So hopefully that makes sense for pound yen. AUD/USD we'll take a look at next. Okay, you're looking at pound CAD also. Nice. Let's see if we can get some buys. I think pound looking very weak. Is it just me, or is it pound's very weak? Because we were looking at pound CAD, that was melting a little bit quite aggressively there. Pound USD wasn't looking too hot either. Yeah, that was looking a little bit bearish. Pound yen was falling. I don't know if it was just yen pairs as well, or yeah, the market's starting to move a little bit. I think it's sensing it's the end of August, so it's starting to move, which is obviously a very, very good thing. But yeah, I'm looking at pound CAD buys, so we'll be keeping an eye on that one, because we are coming into my area of interest in a few moments here. So if I see the necessary price action I'm looking for, I do think the buys could end up being a very nice trade. But we'll wait and see. We could obviously break through and keep going. So it's important that we do wait for confirmations. We'll take a look at AUD/USD next. So onto some dollar pairs. I will go touch on DXY in a second as well, because that one's looking interesting as well. But yeah, with AUD/USD, we broke to the upside yesterday. We cleared this resistance, but we came back very, very aggressively after. So it may just be a slight fake out. The key thing I'm looking at is that price is still holding onto the support term resistance on the daily time frame. You can see a lovely wick there to the upside. We're still rejecting this 0.65 level. So AU, I'm still very bearish, as quite a lot of you probably would know if you've been on the streams for a while now. You know, I keep talking about this lovely point down here at 0.62. That's still where I'm expecting price to gravitate towards. I'm expecting price to eventually end up there, whether we have a bigger retracement first and then drop, or we just drop from where we are. That's up to price. But that is definitely my directional bias going forward. So I'm just going to be looking for the sells for AUD/USD. At the moment, we are holding to that resistance there. I'm not a big fan of the price action. Reason being, we created some equal lows down here. Again, if I'm looking to short the market, I want to be seeing lower lows and lower highs, not equal lows. It's a sign that the market is starting to exhaust, starting to tire. Maybe looking at a reversal or a bigger retracement. So with AU, even though we are rejecting this resistance still, I'm not that inclined to short. Maybe there could be some shorter term sells just back to the low of the range. But in terms of a nice swing opportunity, not the best opportunity when we just created equal lows. So I'm going to wait for a bit more development with AU. But yeah, we are holding onto that resistance. So potentially could just see a swing back to the lows and maybe some more ranging price action. If you do break above, then things get a little bit interesting because I'll be looking at a retest of this area up here, which is the kind of the bigger retracement I'm keeping my eye on for. If you do push up there, possibly some bigger sells and then bigger drops to the downside. So that would be my preferred opportunity, preferred setup for AU. If you can get a bigger pullback, a lower high, some lower highs and lower time frames, and then starting to short, that would be the best case scenario. But we'll see. We will see. But yeah, AU definitely favoring some sells going forward. Henrique, I'm looking on pound CAD buys, but not scared because it is moving in the same. But scared because it's moving in the same direction as pound USD. Yeah, that is a strong point because pound USD and pound CAD are normally quite correlated. Not the most correlated in the world, but they typically do move in the same direction most of the time. So if pound USD is in a bearish trend, I'll probably say seven times out of 10, pound CAD's also in a bearish trend as well. But they're not actually, because pound CAD's actually moving up, whereas pound USD has been moving up of late, but it's starting to drop to the downside a little bit. So they're kind of in a weird place right now. But yeah, I'm purely trying to focus on the chart that I'm trading. If I get an entry signal on the chart I'm trading and it fits the plan, then I will take the trade. I'm not trying to look too much into correlation. Not that it doesn't exist. It's just that when I back tested my strategy, back tested my trading, I'm always 100% focused on the chart I'm taking the trade on. I don't have pound CAD and pound USD on two screens, and I'm comparing the two. So yeah, I try to just trade the trades that fit my plan well. And if this gives me the entry signal, then I will take the trade. But of course, it may not do that as well. It could obviously just break straight through and not give me what I'm looking for in terms of the shift in momentum, nice bullish engulfing candle. You could just break straight through and keep selling off. So yeah, I understand the little scare, the little fear behind it. It's always scary putting on a trade as well when you're risking some decent capital, but that's what trading is, no risk, no reward. But yeah, I mean, it's in my area now. It's been very, very bearish the past couple hours, but we'll see what we can get in that area. We'll see. Candle still open, still only 30 minutes, but yeah, it's very, very bearish. So yeah, Euro fell to the downside quite aggressively as well. NZD not looking so hot. Dollar Swiss, that's pumping back to the upside after a crazy move to the downside yesterday. Dollar CAD is, I mean, that's just quite choppy. But yeah, dollar pairs are looking a little bit interesting. Seeing some big moves. Where was I? Check pound yen. Yeah, I just went through pound yen. Gold, we'll take a look. Cello, no problemo. Pound yen buy, similar setup to pound CAD. Yeah, it is a similar setup to pound CAD. I like pound CAD a little bit better than pound yen. Risk to reward looks a little bit better as well, but they're very, very similar setups. I would imagine they'll probably get both of their entry signals at the same time. So I wouldn't look to trade pound CAD and trade pound yen as well, because they'll probably both fail or both win at the same time. So I wouldn't trade them both because they're very similar setups, but although pound yen is really pushing through that level. But again, I always wait for closed candles because I've seen many, many times where price has been looking very bullish or very bearish, and by the end of the candle, it's completely reversed that and left behind a big wick. So I always wait for that candle closure to make my decisions. But at the moment, I'm still pretty bullish on pound yen, looking for us to return back to the highs there on the left. But at the moment, definitely no entry signal at that particular area. Pound CAD, still waiting for some development as well. Yeah, pound USD will take a look as well. No problem. Happy to help. Kate Trading, what is up? Do you mind to go deeper into price action, like the signs when the price reacts to key levels? Your levels are quite clear, helpful, but would be better to learn more about what we could see and we could do with the price action. That's appreciated. Good question. Yeah, so when you are, I mean, it depends, because there's two ways I'm looking at levels. If I've drawn like a big key level, so for example, like for gold, for example, coming into this week, I had a big key level around 1930, 1940. So I said I'm looking for some sales at this particular area here. So if it's, for example, I'm drawing a key level on the higher time frame, then excuse me. And then what I'm looking at is for price to start giving me some lower lows and lower highs on the full H, on the hourly, before I start looking for some shorts. So going onto the full H, going onto the hourly, I want to see the price come into this area and then start giving me some equal highs or some lower highs. And then I'll look for my setup, which is my pattern that I trade. And then I'll look to execute on a position like that. But I want to start seeing this type of structure from my zone, and then I'll look to short. The second type of zone that I draw is an entry zone, so where I'm actually looking to trade from. So for example, pound CAD, if you go back to pound CAD, now price is in that zone. Now I'm waiting for a shift in momentum. Now I'm waiting for an engulfing candle to take a trade. So say this candle closes like this, and then we get another bullish candle closing back above, giving us a nice bullish engulfing. Then I'll look to take the trade like this. So for this this particular level, I'm not waiting for price to start giving me some higher highs and higher lows. Now I'm actually looking to get into the market on a bounce off that level. But when it's like a higher time frame level, like a daily level, sometimes 4H levels, but mostly daily levels and above, I'm waiting for price to come into those zones, start reacting with them and changing direction. Basically just in terms of structure. So if the market is doing this coming into the level, I want it to be doing this going away, and then I'll be looking for my entries on pullbacks on these particular areas here to go in the opposite direction. Imagining that the levels like over there, then I'll be looking shorts going down. So it's very, very simple, nothing too complicated. But if I'm got like a big zone in the market, I want price to be trading away with a trend, because again, I am a trend trader. I look to follow the trend. So if the market does come into a key level in the higher time frames and it's bullish, but I want to short, I need to wait for a bearish trend to develop before I actually do short, and vice versa. But when it's time for execution, which is when I'm dropping to the lower time frames, 4H hourly for my entries, then I'm just waiting for a shift in momentum to enter. But I do have some videos on how I enter the markets. If you go through my education playlist, I do have a couple of videos on how I enter the market. So go and check that out if you haven't done so already. Should clarify things for you. So yeah, we'll take a look at gold. Asim, what is up? BTC, please, sure thing. Looking to long from 26.2k. If price gets there, okay, sure thing. We'll take a look. Top 10. You can look at dollar Swiss. I'm trying to take a short on swing trade. Okay, of course. I just had a look at AUSD gaming scenario. If you go back like 5 minutes, you'll probably see the analysis. But first, let's take a look at gold, and then I'll take a look at Bitcoin shortly after. So yeah, for Bitcoin, I had this big level drawn up at 90.30, 19.40. This broken level here, time resistance. I was looking for a lower high to form in this particular area. I had a nice drop to the downside for Bitcoin, taking out some of these lows here on the left. So I was looking for a pullback into this area, and then for a trend to follow back down to the lows. But as we can see, gold is still pretty bullish. So I'm not prepared to start shorting gold as of yet until I see some structure start forming to the downside and some lower lows and some lower highs. So we can see that the market is still very, very bullish at the moment. If I start seeing some bearish structure, then I'll consider shorting and getting in some sales. So I am still bearish on gold. Even though we are slightly breaking above the zone. But again, the market's not perfect, so a slight breaker like that won't necessarily change my whole bias about gold. But it is showing me that the gold is still pretty bullish. So I'm backing off until I see some clear bearish structure like we had over here with these lower highs. Until I start seeing stuff like that, then I'll get involved, or at least look for entries for gold. So yeah, I'm looking at bigger moves to the downside for gold, predominantly back to the lows here, but waiting for price action to start giving me some lower lows and break of structure, and then I'll be tempted to start looking for some entries. But at this moment in time, everything's still pretty bullish, and again, the market could continue to fly to the upside and keep pushing up for all we know. So the market turning bearish and seeing some lower lows and low highs is very, very important before I start looking to short. If not, we could just keep flying to the upside. Okay, so we'll take a look at Bitcoin, then we'll take a look at dollar Swiss as well. Oil, no problem. Amritibir, probably saying that very, very wrong, but sure thing. Jackson, what is up? Can you take a look at Euro USD? Haven't looked at Euro USD yet, so yeah, we'll take a look, no problem. Hamza, what is up? Looks like Euro USD is in the area of demand in the 4H, looking to go long short term. TP supply zone above 1.093, then short again, supply zone, trail my stop loss. Cool. Okay, we'll go take a look at Euro. First, let me have a little look see of Bitcoin. So someone said they're looking to long from 26.2. So where is 26.2, 26.2? So that's more or less down at these areas here. Give or take 26.2. There we go. So you're looking to long down there. Okay, not the worst idea in the world, because obviously this is where all the momentum came from. So a retest of the structure, most likely we'll see some type of bounce at those areas. I'm still pretty bearish on Bitcoin. I do expect these lows here on the left to be taken out sooner or later. So I am actually looking at eventually a bigger move to the downside. I did say this would be a very nice place to short, but I wasn't expecting price to get there, and we still probably won't get there either. Next best place, I did highlight this area here, which the market has come into and starting to react to. So I'm pretty bearish for Bitcoin. I'm looking for a bigger move to the downside, taking out 24,400. In the meantime, we could see a push to the downside and a reaction from this. So there could be some shorter term longs. But from my analysis and how price is looking in the daily time frame, I do expect these lows to be taken out and these lows as well. So Bitcoin, for me, I am bearish, expecting more downside. Again, where you're looking to go long from does make sense. We could see definitely a bounce from there. Of course, I could be wrong as well. So that does make a lot of sense for some buys down there. But the way I'm looking at the structure and high time frames, I do favor more downside. So I'd rather be looking for sells rather than buying opportunities. But yeah, if it does make sense to you, fits your plan, it does look like a good opportunity, because of course prices showed a lot of rejection there. But if we do have a nice bounce to the upside from that area, I would be expecting a lower high to form somewhere and price to start taking out the lows there on the left. So yeah, Bitcoin for me, I'm still expecting a bit more downside going forward. Okay, so dollar Swiss we'll take a look at next, and we'll go for oil and euro. So dollar Swiss, I was looking at some longs coming into the week for this one, but it has been quite choppy. It's broke through my area of confidence, which I was looking to long from coming into the week. Had a nice little level going through here, looking for the break and retest to buy and go long. However, the market broke the downside, but looks like it just came back to respect support. I did say yesterday that if we do break through this low here on the left, that I will look to change my bias completely with dollar Swiss and be looking for shorts. However, we didn't quite break through. The market came back into that area, fired a big wick through that zone there, as we can see here, big wick through the zone, respect to the area, and of course has shifted momentum since then. So the fact that we didn't get candle closure was very, very significant and showed that the market was respecting the level rather than breaking through. So for dollar Swiss, I still have a bullish bias. I'm looking for price to come back and retest this area here on the left, possibly for a bigger sell-off, because I am still bearish on dollar Swiss longer term, as we can see here. So I'm definitely am still bearish on the higher time frames, but 4H has been bullish for quite a while, pretty consistent higher lows here, respect to that price support. So I actually do favor sells. But if we start coming back down again for dollar Swiss and start breaking through some lows again, then yeah, shorts look very, very good going forward, and we can probably target the lows all the way down here as a dodgy arrow, but you guys get my point, down there ish. So back to the price and the lows, but I want to see this low getting taken out. We could potentially form a head and shoulder. It's not the most audacious bet in the world. That is definitely a possibility, a little right shoulder forming, but I would like it to see us break through that neckline first and try and catch some sells on the underneath of it and try and jump the gun right now. But yeah, that's kind of my outlook for dollar Swiss. Okay, so yeah, top 10. The short and swing trade does make sense, okay, like flowing with the higher time frames, but I would wait for this support level to go. It's a bit more of a conservative trade. Of course, shorting now is not a bad opportunity on the retest some structure there. Try and anticipate that right shoulder. But I'll be waiting for that structure to break there. That will show me that there's a clear sign that buys are fading. We're likely to continue that momentum, and shorts after that will be of really high quality. But of course, shorting up there will give you a better risk reward, and earlier entry. So it's up to you how you want to tackle that. But yeah, sells I do agree with, but I would wait for structure to break first. If not, we might push up into this area here before we do get a bigger decline for dollar Swiss. But yeah, it is a nice swing opportunity, and definitely something I'll be looking at probably going into next week though, because I think NFP will have a big say with the dollar pairs. Okay, so we'll take a look at oil next, and then I'll go over to Euro USD. Couple people interested in that one. Asim, what is up? I was reading the price action on gold. The structure on the weekly is more clear, tradable. Okay, we'll have a look, see gold on the weekly chart. Mighty King, what is up? Do you only enter trades based on bullish or bearish candlestick patterns, or do you also enter based on other candlestick patterns? No, it's predominantly bullish engulfing or bearish engulfing candlestick patterns. Yeah, that's my go-to entry indication. I like to keep my entries very, very simple. Most of the hard work is, finding the areas to get involved with, finding the confluences, finding the direction. I like to keep the entries very simple, which is just looking for a shift in momentum, and bullish engulfings or bearish engulfings for me are the best candlestick pattern that represents that. There are many different candlestick patterns you can look at, like hammer candles and stuff like that, which I still do keep an eye on for, but the key thing I want to see is that the market is shifting from bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish, and bullish engulfing candles, bearish engulfing candles best show momentum. So those are why I normally trade those candles there for my entries. But yeah, 90% of my trades will be off an engulfing candle, probably even 95%. Okay, so we'll take a look at was it euro? No, oil first, then euro. Okay, so oil. Oil's back at some key resistance. We're still hovering around this area here on the higher time frame. So I'm still pretty bearish for oil. Still looking for a big decline back down to some of these lows here, as long as we remain below 82.50. So I'm still very, very bearish longer term with oil, purely technical reasons. But I'm pretty bearish as long as we stay below that area. And we are coming back to a nice level of resistance, but it looks like we may be breaking through it on the 4H time frame. So this is not the best sign for the bears. This is not the best sign for the bears. The fact that we're breaking through this is not a good sign. It could spell a little bit more upside first before we do push up higher. This is now potentially a key level of support we could come into for some longs. You can see how we've been firing wicks to the downside, but every time it's been a higher low, even there as well. Now the fact the market's breaking through this resistance here possibly might mean a bit more upside, maybe a double top at the highs there before a bigger decline later on. So I would say shorter term buys look good for oil now that we are breaking through that resistance. In terms of 80.85 looks like a good buy. If we push a little bit higher, then 81.50 will become a good buy as well. It's a little bit too shallow to be taking a break and we tested that high, but if we do pull away a little bit further, then I'll be interested in 81.50 as a valid area to buy from as well, and then possibly some bigger sells later on. But oil's been fighting to the upside. I have been looking for us to roll over, but we keep pushing to the upside, and we've been pretty consistent with the high lows as well. And now that we're breaking through structure on the left, this could present us a little bit more upside, maybe shorter term still with oil. I'm not quite sold on the longer term move unless we break through that higher time frame daily zone here. If you really just break through this area here, then yeah, of course, I'll change that bias. But until then, I still favor a bigger decline in price. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for oil, probably for the rest of the week, maybe going into next week as well. Okay, so Euro USD we'll take a look at next. We'll take a look at gold on the weekly as well. Move was up, pound USD 1.26. Okay, are these your trades, I suppose? We'll take a look at them. Tony Gold, what is up? Appreciate it. At 2645, welcome to the stream. Market been ripping my stop loss lately before going my way. Must be doing something wrong. It depends. I would always say that, people are very quick to change things when things aren't going too well. But when things are going well, they think they've sussed out the markets. And of course, I know that firsthand. But just because price is hitting your stop loss more than often recently doesn't necessarily mean you're doing things wrong. It just might mean that the market conditions are not quite in sync for your trading style and the way you trade the market. Because I guarantee you, if you just keep trading how you've been trading, as long as you've been profitable before, and it's a profitable strategy, of course, if you keep seeing it through, you eventually will come into a string of winners, and the strategy will be clicking very, very well. But I would have to say that make sure that you are taking the best trades possible, and they obviously do fit your plan well. So that's up to you, reflecting, go over your trades and really going through them and being honest. Is this a good trade? Does it fit my strategy well? Does it fit my plan well? Did I wait for my entry signal? Did I get in too early or too late? If you tick all the boxes and you did everything right, then yeah, it's just a loss. Even if you have like a 50 or 60% win rate, you can still go through a losing streak of 4, 5, 6, 7 trades in a row. Obviously, maybe 6, 7 is a little bit unlikely, but it's still definitely a possibility. It's still technically normal. So if you were to go through that, you wouldn't necessarily throw the strategy in the bin. But if there is some human error, maybe some emotion came into play, then of course you need to address that. But sometimes if you're just in a losing streak, 3, 4, 5 trades, perfectly normal. So I wouldn't start throwing things in the bin. Maybe there would be some mistakes which you could address, but I wouldn't do it now, because you would typically be a little bit emotional now, and you'll probably make some big adjustments to the strategy which are most likely unnecessary. So I would say keep at it, see it through, make sure you manage your risk well, so if anything bad happens, it's managed. And then once you get into a nice good streak of trades, then look back at your losers and see if maybe there was some mistakes, because maybe now you'd be a little bit too emotional, so you probably find a mistake where there might not be. But if there genuinely was a mistake, then of course you can correct that. But I wouldn't say you're doing something inherently wrong just because you get more stop losses than usual. But of course, only you can know the answer to that when you go through your trades. Okay, so we'll take a look at Euro USD next. So yeah, Euro USD, we did see some really crazy upside yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was Wednesday yesterday. So we did see some nice upside. We came and reacted off this full H level of broken support and resistance, which was our last kind of major swing low before that bigger pullback. Nice drop to the downside. And we did come into that area and did see a quite nice reaction. So I did favor intraday buys yesterday, and I still do favor intraday buys for Euro. Some shorter term buys. I would have liked to see price hold that resistance there on EuroCAD. But we have cracked it. I would say if Euro breaks through this low here, then I'll scrap that bias altogether with Euro USD for shorter term buys. Because if you start breaking through that, it might actually mean that Euro wants to get back bearish again and start attacking some of these lows here. But if Euro USD can start giving us some higher lows, back above this area, I do think there is upside to be had for Euro USD, especially with this lovely impulse there. The fact that we're falling higher lows, love the impulse there as again. This is a hefty retracement, so yeah, it's important that we do start showing some signs of momentum coming back in, because if we break through this low, I would scrap that bullish bias altogether. But yeah, I would like to see us getting back above 1.089 to tell us that, okay, the buyers are coming back into play. But yeah, Euro USD, I do favor some short-term buys, which I think someone was describing earlier. Yeah, Hamza, looks like Euro USD is in the area of demand. H4 looking to go long short-term. TP supply zone above around 1.093. Where is that? 1.093. Okay, so back up the highs here more or less. Yeah, that would be a sensible target to have. And then short again in that supply zone, trail my stop loss, the TP zone 1.078. Sounds like a plan to me, to be fair. And that's back to these lows here more or less. So yeah, it does sound like a plan. I do like the idea. I do like the shorter term longs for potentially some longer term sells, because I'm still pretty bearish on Euro. It's getting to the higher time frames here. We have broke through a considerable low here on the left as well. And we have been pretty consistent with these lower highs for a few weeks now as well. So I do think we are eventually going to see a bigger move to the downside and probably attack the lows here on the left for Euro USD. So that's kind of the longer term plan for Euro. Same kind of thing for Pound as well. Longer term, I do see a drop to the downside back to some of these areas. But I can't ignore the fact that we have been pretty bullish for the past few days now, seeing some really nice bullish structure on the hourly. So I do favor some short term buys, but not yet though. Not yet. Not really seeing much evidence that we're holding those areas. But of course, things can change pretty quickly. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at from a Euro USD standpoint. No problem, Mighty King. Happy to help. Rejection on pound CAD. Lower time frames looking good. Okay, I'll have a look. See at pound CAD. Now I think I've been entering too early in London, taking out overnight in New York. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the only way to answer that question correctly is obviously backing up with data. So I would recommend going back testing that particular timing. See if it actually is something that doesn't work well or might work well, but just not working well at the moment. So yeah, I would go back test that to find your answer, because all my answers for my strategy have come from back testing. So everything I do in the live markets is always justified from the knowledge I've learned from back testing, and of course live trading as well. But I want to have hardcore facts that okay, what I'm doing actually is working and it actually makes sense. So when I do go through periods of drawdown and take a string of losers, I'm very 95% of the time very cool headed, and I can get right back on the horse and keep going, because I know what I'm doing works. It's worked live trading. I've got hardcore data to back it up since like 2016. So there's no real reason for me to change anything drastically. Of course, I want to improve and get better, but from changing things because I've had a string of losers, it doesn't make any sense. So if that particular timing from London to New York isn't working well, I would go and back that up with some data, go and back test and see if it actually makes sense or not. And if it does make sense, then of course you can scrap it. If it does make sense, but right now you're just in a rough period, which is normal as well, then you might just have to see that rough period through. But yeah, if you understand the component which may be off, I would say the only way to find that out is grabbing some data on it. Because other than that, you're kind of just going off a shorter kind of string of trades, which is not the best to make big decisions on whether you're going to scrap it or keep it. Anyway, so yeah, pound CAD apparently getting a nice little bounce. Let's see. Okay, yeah, pound CAD is getting a nice little bounce. So if I can get a nice bullish engulfing, so this candle's likely to close in the next 5 minutes here. So if I can get a candle closing like that, that'll be nice little wick into the zone. But then see the next candle open up, give me a nice bullish engulfing. Did not draw it correctly. Give me a nice little bullish engulfing going to the upside like that. That'll be a beautiful little entry signal. Taking the trade like that. Probably first target back to the highs here on the left. And then if all goes well, probably final targets back up there. So that's kind of what I'm be looking at for pound CAD, looking to try and catch that next higher low. We've got some equal lows down there, higher low, some decent momentum here as well, ripping to the upside. We're obviously holding a very key level on the daily chart as well. There's prior resistance now turns support. We've got successive high lows for quite some time now, so there's a good chance that pound CAD will eventually take up the high here and continue higher as well. So in terms of the confluences, in terms of what I'm seeing in the high time frames, everything looks pretty good for pound CAD. Just need to see a good shift in momentum, which we're seeing the first signs of. So need to stay patient and take the trade. Of course, I know you're talking about the lower time frames might already be a little bit bullish. If you scale to the 15. So yeah, 15 minute, we are seeing some momentum. Again, I only take my trades on the hourly time frame. Not that the 15 minute doesn't work, but I just like using the hourly. It's not too fast, not too slow. I can get decent size stop loss on with a decent confirmation in context of the 4H time frame as well. So I'll wait to see what we can get on the next candle, because I won't be taking any entries on this candle here. But first sign is a beautiful wick, which is a good sign. Now you can see that momentum come back in with a nice little engulfing candle, and then I'll look to take the trade. But yeah, we're seeing some good signs here. But of course, the next candle could fill the wick and then drop to the downside. So it's definitely not confirmed yet, at least from my books as well. But yeah, we are seeing some good signs. Excuse me. Where was I? What's up, William? Welcome to the stream. Love your analysis, bro. Always see you with Nick. Yeah, we'll be live again with Nick later today. So if you are free, if anyone's free, feel free to jump into the stream on Trader Nick's channel. I'll be live from around 1:30 UK time in about an hour and a half from, no, 2 hours and a half from now. So yeah, feel free to pop into that stream as well. But yeah, I am live with Nick every week. Have you touched gold already? Yes, I have. I'll go probably take a look again, but I'm not really keen trading gold just yet. Moch, let's leave a like. Miko, it's his birthday tomorrow. Moch is getting the cat out of the bag now. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream and if you do have a kind heart and yeah, if you are kind, you leave a like for my birthday tomorrow. Happy early birthday. Appreciate it, Mikey. Hayden, what is up? Hope you're well. I'm good. Hope you are too. NZJPY long from pretty much this area. Okay, we'll go take a look at NZJPY. Wishing you a birthday filled with profitable trades, successful strategies, and abundant market opportunities. May your trading journey be as rewarding as your special day. Happy early birthday. Really appreciate that, Mighty King. Really nice message. But yeah, I don't think I've been wished happy early birthday before, so I do like the kind of messages, guys. Appreciate it. I remember last year, my birthday was on a Thursday, so I was streaming last year on my birthday, but yeah, it's on a Friday now. Anyway, so oh yeah, pound CAD's really pulled back quite nicely. So yeah, potential entry on the next candle. Let's wait and see. But yeah, I have to keep an eye on pound CAD because there've been some times where I've been waiting for an entry, but I've been looking at other pairs for other people and actually forget about the pair that I'm about to trade. So I have to make sure I remember about it. But anyway, so we'll take a look at. Can't remember which pair, so I'll take a look at next. Pound CAD. Okay, we're touching gold. Then we'll take a look at NZJPY for Hayden. AUSD as well, short. Okay. Hello from France. Hey, wicked. Whereabouts in France are you from? Had someone from Marseille, I think. Marseille. And yeah, if where you're from has a big football team, then I'll probably know the area. Okay, so where is gold? There we are. So yeah, gold, I'm interested in a big sell-off to the downside. However, yeah, it's just not ready yet. So I'm looking at gold coming back down to 1890. I was about to say 1990, 1890. So I'm looking at price coming back down to these lows. However, gold is still pretty bullish at the moment. It's still pretty bullish, so I'm waiting for a bit more development with gold. We are coming to some nice areas where potentially we could start shifting bearish, start seeing some lower lows and lower highs come back in and see a bigger move to these lows. So that is the plan which I'm looking at for gold. But again, we need to see that kind of price action come into fruition, because at the moment, all I'm seeing is higher highs and higher lows, and we could easily see a retest and a continuation higher. So I need to see some lower lows and lower highs coming into the market first, and then I'll consider shorting and take some retests somewhere for some shorts, and then that will be my trade for gold. So I'm waiting for something like this, but at the moment we've got something like this. So if you're looking at gold, I'll probably say favor intraday buying opportunities on the lower time frames. We've got a lovely level there on the hourly, which we haven't seen a retest of yet. So this is like a lovely place to look for some long, really nice momentum. Could break to the downside, take out some weaker lows, test that area, and be on our way. So at the moment, 1938 looks like a good short-term long. Again, I'm not really interested in the buys because I do favor more downside, but again, I could be wrong. And at the moment, we are still seeing a very nice bullish market. So I do favor some intraday buys at least for gold, maybe back to the highs, and then we might sell off. But yeah, that's the plan for gold at the moment. Um, okay, so we'll take a look at NZJPY, then AUDUSD next. Hi Andrea, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Dollar Yen Dodger, we'll take a look. Dance with Beast, happy birthday, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it. We'll get the happy birthday messages early. HS Farm shots. What about AUSD? Okay, we'll take a look. In the sell side, yeah, a few people in. Looks like they're shorting. AUSD. Rona, I'm from. Is that Broadway? Boudoir? I'm probably saying that very wrong. I'm trying to get my French accent out here. On the southwest, yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that. Do they have like a big football team? Is it in League 1 or is it a league below? If it's in League 1, then yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think I have heard of that, to be fair, but learn something new every day. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so NZJPY, someone said they went short or long? Can't remember. Okay, long. Hayden, you've gone long from pretty much this area. Okay, let's take a look, see. So yeah, I haven't been a big fan of NZJPY. I haven't been a big fan, and I say that because it's just been very, very choppy. You can see just how price has been moving. Go to the daily chart and just look at the candlesticks there. Very, very, very messy. So haven't been inclined to trade this pair in a while. But yeah, it has been bearish. We've been seeing some lower lows and lower highs here. So I have had a slight bearish bias, but we've been holding on to this support for dear life for a long time, which is also one of the reasons why I haven't been looking to short it, is because the market is just holding that same support. We've seen numerous rejections of that same area. So I don't want to be getting involved in these levels here, trying to short into a brick wall. So yeah, with NZJPY, I suppose you've got long from a retest of coming into this area here for some buys, which does make sense, to be fair. The market's starting to creep up with some higher lows here. Possibly could give us another one, and the market could reverse. I think it's a little bit tad aggressive for my liking as well. I would like to see the market start breaking through some structure first before I'll consider long in the pair. I'm pretty bullish on the higher time frames for NZJPY, even though it's quite choppy. We do have an uptrend on our hands here, so I do think there's a good possibility we can probably come back to the highs there eventually. But I would like to see price start breaking through some highs first, and then I would be interested in some pullbacks and some retests to long. The fact that we haven't really broken through any major structure yet, the lower highs are still intact, is the only thing I don't like about the position. But it potentially could work, because the retest here could give us the move that actually breaks structure. Then I'll be interested in some long. So you kind of got into the trade like one step before I would typically want to get involved. But yeah, not to say it won't work or anything, but I think it's just a little bit early in my books. But yeah, I do like NZJPY to the upside. It's just we haven't broken through any major structure yet. We're still forming these lower highs, so that's the only thing I don't like about the position. But yeah, we are still holding to that zone, yeah. So I still do think we can go bullish, but it's a little bit too early. I want to see a bit more evidence first that we're breaking to the upside. So yeah, that's kind of my take on NZJPY. AUSD I'll touch on as well. Dollar Yen, sure thing. USD CAD, okay, we'll take a look. I appreciate it, Irene. Okay, Bordeaux, like League 2, okay, this year because the fans are crazy and violent. Wow. Wait, so they got moved to League 2 because of the fans being crazy and violent? But yeah, I haven't heard of Bordeaux. Is it like is it more of like a lower, like, do they kind of are they kind of around relegation, lower, I don't know how I'm trying to say it. Are they like normally lower in the table? Because obviously I know the big teams like Marseille, PSG, Monaco, a few more, but they're kind of off the top of my head. But yeah, Bordeaux maybe it does ring a bell, but yeah, I wouldn't know. Okay, so we'll take a look at AUSD, then we'll go into dollar yen as well. Okay, so yeah, AUSD bearish bias. Looking at price eventually coming to these lows down here at 0.62. However, I'm just not so particularly keen on shorting AU. It may sell off from this level because we're having a nice little break and retest of this low term resistance. You can see we're getting some nice wicks to the upside. So I do like how price is reacting with this level. It does look good. It does look like price is really rejecting that level, and there's a good possibility we do see AU drop to the downside. The only real reason why I'm not so inclined to be looking to sell is because price created the equal lows down at 0.64. If we create a lower low and then we pull back, that would be a bit more interesting for me. But with respect to the prior lows, so I'm not the biggest fan of that. I would just say with AUSD that we're kind of ranging a little bit. We've got some strong resistance above us, which the market is rejecting. Strong support below us, which the market is rejecting as well. And we're kind of just fluctuating between these two levels. So I'm wanting to see price either break to the upside or break to the downside. If we do break to the upside, then I'm looking at 0.66 as an area to short from on the retest of this area here, a bigger pullback, lower high, then sell off. Or if we break to the downside, that shows, okay, AUSD is breaking lows again. Some pullbacks will probably look better, probably have a bit more momentum in the market as well. So I would be interested in some break and retest going forward. But in this area, not the biggest fan, but it is holding on to the resistance. We are seeing some good rejection on the daily as well. So I do favor sells, but I just wouldn't take it in my personal trading. But of course, if it fits your plan well and it looks good according to you, then of course do what you need to do. But with AU, I would be bearish. I am bearish, but I'll wait for either price to pull up a little bit deeper first before I look for any sells or start breaking the lows, and then I'll look for some retests. But yeah, I do agree with the direction though, 100%. Okay, so dollar yen we'll move on to next. Dollar CAD. Mighty King, which country are you from? Well, I'm born and raised in the UK, London. But my dad's from Nigeria. My mum's half Zambian, half Polish. So a little bit of a mixture. Abdul, what is up? I'm a bit late, no problem. Take a look at NZD CAD. I went short 0.80928 yesterday. Okay, we'll have a look. See. Rowan, what is up? I'm doing great. Hope you are as well. From South Africa, Joburg. Nice. Just wanted to know what you think of gold. Will come down close to the gap 1870 because looking to sell gold long. To sell gold long term or sell gold long kind of contradicts each other a little bit there, but I think you just mean sell. Matthew, do you think JPY pairs still looks okay to buy? We'll go through some JPY pairs because some of them are looking a little bit shaky. Arturo, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. Mind checking our natural gas? Of course, we'll take a look. Got some pairs to take a look at first, but we'll eventually get to it. Okay, so let me go through dollar yen, dollar CAD first. So yeah, dollar yen, we were talking about this one quite a lot yesterday. Price was holding on to some resistance, coming back to retest some structure over here on the left. We had a hefty sell-off to the downside yesterday, so I did say we might see a push to the downside, but eventually I'm expecting price to kick back bullish again. So that's still the plan for dollar yen, although it is a little bit shaky. I would say if you're looking for some good buying opportunity, good buy opportunities for dollar yen, I would wait for price to what happened there? I'll wait for price to get back above this high, and then you got some pretty clear buys to look at for retests and continuations. Because what I'm looking at for dollar yen is, of course, we had a higher low here, so this was our price swing high, higher low, higher high. I'm looking at another higher low coming in this area, and eventually the market kicking bullish again. But I would say that this is a strong resistance. You can see if I do go to the 4 weeks time frame, the market has really respected this area quite well. So there is a bigger chance that dollar yen might retrace a little bit deeper. But if you do get above that area, that shows that, okay, buyers are back in town again. And I would be expecting them to continue back to the highs here on the left, which is 147,300-ish. And possibly a lot higher as well. Longer term, we're still looking at 150 back to the highs there on the left. So there's still a long way to go in my books for dollar yen for the buys. But yeah, buys now maybe a little bit aggressive for dollar yen in my opinion. But if you can clear that resistance, that would definitely open up the buys again, because that's what we were looking for a couple of days ago, and we did get the breakout, a retest of this area and then some continuations. However, we snapped back in very aggressively, so we might just kind of dilly-dally a little bit, move sideways, break back above, and then those buys kind of come back into play again. So that's kind of what I'm looking at from dollar yen. Still very bullish. No significant low has been broken. This is still the key low I'm looking at. As long as we stay above that, I'm looking at buys predominantly with dollar yen. If I zoom out, you can see the 4H time frames being consistent with the higher highs and higher lows. Daily time frame consistent with the higher highs and higher lows. Even if I go to the higher time frames as well, pretty consistent with the higher highs and higher lows. So pretty good probability we do get back to the highs down the left. Just need to take it slow, wait for the best opportunity, and then when they do present themselves, execute. So that's the plan with dollar yen. USD CAD, this one, although I am still kind of bullish on USD, USD CAD, I'm still bullish on dollar as well, but we are coming back to some significant resistance where I don't really want to be buying into. It doesn't really make too much sense looking to buy dollar CAD at the moment. Coming back into the resistance here, we came back last week Friday we initially tested, and Monday as well this week. And we've seen some hefty rejection from that area. So we have seen a lovely move to the upside, but it's starting to get a little bit corrective, running out of juice a little bit. And I don't really want to be buying the market right now, especially after the aggressive double top we had there. So with dollar CAD, although I am still bullish, if we start breaking through some structure here, especially this low here on the left, I do like the sells going forward. We might see a bigger sell-off, maybe a bigger retracement, and then eventually dollar CAD might go bullish again to the upside. But at the moment, price is kind of doing what dollar Swiss did, which is respect that prior low. If I go to dollar Swiss, you can see dollar Swiss did the same thing, respected that prior low, is pushing up again. So I was kind of expecting the same sort of price action from dollar CAD as well, probably back to the highs. But like I said, it's just a little bit too high up for me to buy. Therefore, I'm kind of backing away. If we do go and break through the low here, then I probably will entertain some shorter term sells. So that's kind of the only trade I'm looking at. But until we break through that low, I'm not really seeing much for dollar CAD. The buys were kind of during the way up here, even though they weren't even really good buys. But it would be a bit late to buy now. Not that the trade won't work, it just doesn't make too much sense when we just come across a big level of resistance. Don't really want to be looking for your buys now, unless you're maybe on the lower time frame, shorter term. Maybe you can get away with it. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for dollar CAD. Not the best pair in the world, I would have to say. Okay, so we'll take a look at dollar CAD, NZD CAD. Abdul said you're short. Okay, we'll take a look. And we'll go to gold as well for Rowan. And we'll take a look at some of the JPY pairs as well. Natural gas. El Franco, what is up? Happy birthday from Kenya. Appreciate it. Dodger, what will have to happen for dollar yen to sell off? What do you mean, fundamentally or technically? For dollar yen to sell off, well, for me to be interested in some sells for dollar yen, I need to see price breaking through some more lows. I need to see a bit more bearish momentum. Effectively, I'd like to see this low broken for dollar yen. If we can break through that low, that'll tell me that, okay, dollar yen probably is going to see a bit more downside. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for in terms of sales for dollar yen. But as I just went through, pretty much every time frame, every major time frame is still pretty bullish for dollar yen. So I don't really want to be going into sells. Not that we can't sell off. We can do that at any given time, really. But in terms of trading, in terms of probability, I just want to favor that direction until I see significant changes in the market. And then I will adapt my bias. But at the moment, all I'm seeing is consistent higher lows. So I'm not thinking about sell-offs at the moment. But if you do take up this 145, 144, 500 low, then yeah, then we can talk about sell-offs. Okay, so let's touch on gold. No, NZD CAD, sorry. NZD CAD. So you said you got short on this one yesterday. What time? I mean, not what time, what price? 0.80928. Let's mark it in 0.80928. So roughly around here. So not bad Not a bad little price to enter. We did come back and retest some nice areas here on the left. So it's not a bad short at all for NZD CAD. Still respecting some structure. Although I have kind of fallen out of love a little bit with NZD CAD because the price action has been very, very choppy. As we can see, a bunch of equal lows, equal highs, not really moving too well. I am still bearish. We are still seeing predominantly lower highs here. So I do favor shorts, which is why I do like your trade. And I do have a lot of targets further to the downside for NZD CAD, these lows here as well. So I can see more downside for the pair, but I just don't like how it's moving. It's just been very, very choppy, not really giving me clean momentum either. Your trade there is probably the best we can find probably on the retest of that structure there. So I do like it. Where's your targets for the trade? Is it back down to the lows here, 0.8, or are you looking to stretch trade a little bit further? But yeah, I do have to say, really nice trade there. Really nice trade. Let's see if we can kind of break out that consolidation. Maybe NFP could give us that kick tomorrow. So yeah, gold, you said you're looking for a gap fill. Am I correct? Just wanted to know, do you think gold will come down to close the gap at 1870? Whereabouts is 1870? 1870, so here. Okay, what gap are you talking about? It might be on a different broker, to be fair. Because on this broker, Rwanda, I'm not seeing a gap. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much of a gap here, 1870. It actually mean like a gap in price. But, yeah, I'm not seeing a gap personally for me. But it could be different for the broker that you're on. But yeah, I am bearish bias. I mean, I am expecting gold to come back into the lows here, 1890 at least. So if you do break through them, then 1870 I suppose would be next. And I'm looking at also 1855 down there, which is that prior high of resistance, which will now be turned support as well. So I do think there is a lot of downside, but first we do need to see some evidence that the market can take out the lows first. So yeah, 1870 could be on the cards, but 1890 is kind of a bit more important now. And I just want to see some bearish structure come into play. Thank you so much, Who, for subscribing. If you guys are enjoying the content, find it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. I really do appreciate it. Everyone who has liked the stream, it does really help out the channel. If you haven't subscribed as well, please be sure to do that. It helps out the channel too. And if you are enjoying it, why not? Make sure you do hit the bell as well so you don't miss any streams or uploads in the future as well. But yeah, at the moment, gold is still pretty bullish, still seeing consistent higher highs and higher lows. So until I start seeing some evidence of bearish structure, I'm backing away from gold. And buys actually look the best bet at the moment. But yeah, I do like the bigger sell-off, just need to stay patient for it. Okay, so we'll go through some JPY pairs in terms of buys, but then we'll move on to natural gas as well. Anus, happy birthday, G. Appreciate it. Isn't your birthday soon as well, Anus? Or am I completely wrong? Miko, does a trading journal is considered a track record, or a track record that traders show to an investor is not the same? No, yeah, it depends. It depends what trading journal is. If it's like an official trading journal, like MyFX book is a good trading journal to use, or at least a good kind of system software to use in terms of a valid track record, because sometimes you can manipulate track records quite easily depending which journal you are. So MyFX book is more of a trustworthy, I would say, definitely if you can get the validation of it and change your investor password. So yeah, track records, yeah, your journal would be the same thing, but I would say make sure it's a software based, not like an Excel spreadsheet. Although an Excel spreadsheet would work well for yourself in terms of just recording your trades as your personal journal and recording your entry price and whatever. But to show to like an investor or to take it professional, you probably would want a third-party software to kind of make it more professional and also more trustworthy as well. Because if it's validated by third-party software like MyFX book, it will be respected a lot more than something on an Excel spreadsheet. Even though the data could be the exact same, it's just, you know, anyone could make up something on an Excel spreadsheet. But yeah, I would suggest looking to a third-party software like MyFX book, and there's others out there as well. But yeah, my FX book is free. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's free to validate and stuff. Alexandros, what is up? Sorry, just came. Have you looked at Euro Yen? I don't think I have. I'm about to go through some JPY pairs now. Skylage. Yeah, I'm saying that wrong. JPY is too weak for sell-off. Okay, we'll take a look. Dodger technically. For technically, I would like dollar yen to break through that low. So for any sells, I want price to break through the low first, and then I'll consider shorting going into the future. But at the moment, I have no intention to be shorting dollar yen. So yeah, still focused on the buys. And someone asked, do you think JPY still looks good to buy? So to answer that question, dollar yen, yes, still does look good to buy. Swiss yen, no, doesn't look too good to buy now, because now we failed at this high for a fourth time, which is not a good sign. We could still break through and go higher, but I would say waiting for the breakout would be a smart move, because at this point we've kind of just got a market that's consolidating. We've got equal lows here at 164,500, equal highs at 166,500, and price is just dancing in between those two levels. So looking to go long now for Swiss yen doesn't make so much sense, even though the higher time frames are still pretty bullish. You know, daily, weekly, monthly, still showing a lot of evidence of bullish momentum, but the fact that we'll keep failing to break through the same resistance is not a good sign. It's not a sign of a healthy bullish trend. A healthy bullish trend will be creating higher highs and higher lows. A trend that is starting to tire would start creating equal highs or equal lows. In this case, equal highs. So Swiss yen, I would say no, doesn't look so good to buy. But if we do start breaking through the high again, 166,500, if we can break through that, nice impulsive break, then yeah, buys would look good again. Euro yen as well, saw the same thing. We did see price kind of just about clear the high, but it's come back very aggressively underneath as well. So again, Euro yen not particularly showing a lot of good signs for longs. It's still printing higher lows, so I'm still pretty bullish on Euro yen going forward as well. But it's just not a market I would want to jump into. The fact that we keep respecting the same resistance is just, again, not a sign of a healthy bullish trend. CAD yen as well. This one just still hasn't broke for that same resistance. A lot of rejection at this area. Not a sign of a healthy bullish trend. So a lot of the yen pairs, pound yen, kind of still dancing at that level there. Pound yen does look good for a buy, but need to see a nice shift of momentum off the back of that area. This is not a bad break and retest, because we do have some healthy bullish structure here, at least for pound yen. So we could still see something like that. So I probably would say pound yen looks the best for a buy. NZD JPY, this one's still a little bit choppy, still respecting resistance there, so I would say buys look good either. Still being pretty consistent with the lower highs here as well. Now we'll come back to respect that prior high. For all we know, we could actually see a pretty big sell-off. And NZD JPY as well, I like price to start breaking through some highs too before we consider buying. So if you are looking to buy yen pairs, I think pound yen looks the best, because actually with this one we've actually got a bit of bullish structure. We're still just about kind of hanging on to that high on the left. So if you do see a nice bullish engulfing, I would consider that as a trade opportunity, although I'm focused more on pound CAD. But pound yen does look good for the buy. But all other yen pairs, I would say, are all showing signs of exhaustion and tiring. You know, we want price to be breaking through highs like yen pairs have been doing for the past couple of months. Now we're starting to see signs of price failing to break through their highs. So to answer your question, I'll probably say no. But if you do start seeing price break through their resistance again with some strong momentum, some break and retest, I do think we'll make up for some decent trades. But at the moment, we're not seeing that. Okay, so I'll go take a look at natural gas next. I hope I answered the question on Euro Yen as well. Godfrey, happy birthday, Miko. Appreciate it. Do you see US 30 buying fundamental, or what is your take on that NAS 100 too? Yeah. So I do really like US 30 and NAS 100 for the longs. I do think there's a lot more upside for both of them. I'll go touch them in a second. But yeah, purely from a technical standpoint, I do think there's a lot more upside left. Okay, so natural gas, I went long last week before the gap up and got some nice profits at 2.8. Wondering though, what do you think is the next move could be? Okay, so Where is natural gas? There we are. So you got some nice buys from where? Two at 2.8. Okay, so back to the resistance here. So nice buy there. So yeah, what next? What next for natural gas? Okay, let me just zoom out, take a look at the bigger picture, because I remember last time I was looking at natural gas, I think we were trading up at some of the highs, maybe coming down from this leg here. Anyway, so yeah, natural gas is down at some critical lows here, so there could be a bigger bounce coming for natural gas. You know, these are some very considerable lows in historic terms: 2009, 2012, 2015, 2020, coming back into these kind of highs, these lows, sorry. So I do think eventually you'll probably see a bigger push back up again, but that's more longer term anyway. So yeah, so for natural gas, we're kind of consolidating on the higher time frames. We're kind of just bouncing back and forth. But next move for natural gas, I still have to favor sells overall because of that momentum there on the left. We've just about come back into the high there as well. Let me use the line tool as well. So I would favor sells, but it's just not a great opportunity right now, I would have to say, in terms of the way the market's moving. Just very, very choppy. If we had like a nice pullback to the upside with a bit more momentum, then yeah, shorts back at the highs would make a little bit more sense. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan on this price action. If I had to pick a direction, I would say sells. I'll probably say sells off the back of 2.8 back down to some of these lows here again. But yeah, if I was trading natural gas, I'd probably give it a miss, to be fair, because it's not looking clear to me. I want the position to be clear and stand out. This one, I'm kind of reaching a little bit because I like the resistance, I like the high time frame momentum, and then we're coming back into the same area which we rejected multiple times. So I do like the sells here for the next move, but I wouldn't say it's crystal clear. There we go. So yeah, natural gas, I do have to favor sells as my next move. By the way, yeah, I added it to my watch list because I remember you used to ask for it a lot, so I did add it to my watch list. Anik, thank you, just subscribed, really appreciate it. Trader Benji, still want to see one more push to the high on your USD to take the buy side liquidity before we sell it off. Okay, possibility. I do favor more upside for Euro USD as well from a shorter term standpoint. I'm pretty bearish longer term. We have been seeing pretty consistent lower highs, as we can see 1, 2, possibly 3 here as well. So I do favor the sells longer term, but I do like the buys. I was looking at Euro USD in the morning. I said there's probably a good probability we retest and push to the upside from that area, but of course we didn't. We broke through pretty aggressively. So Euro USD, I'm not really keen to trade it, but yeah, especially off the back of the momentum we've seen over the past couple of days, I do think there is an up move, but I'm not too sure if we'll get past that point there. Maybe we would, but I'm not too sure we would. It's quite a hefty rejection there. How is pound CAD doing? Because I'm still looking for some longs there. So yeah, oh, another hefty wick into that. So looking good, pound CAD, looking good. So if I can get a nice shift in momentum, nice little bullish engulfing candle, probably could look to get long in the next 30 minutes, depending how this one closes. Of course, still a long way to go. It's only through half its lifespan for this hourly candle, so still a long way to go. But if I do get nice bullish engulfing, I will look to take the trade. Stop loss a few pips below the low. First target back to the high here on the left. Next one back to the high there at 1.73. Anus, thanks bro. My birthday is 18th of January. I don't know why I thought it was in September as well. But I'll remember that. Hey, Tuco, appreciate it, bro. God bless you too as well. I appreciate all the birthday messages, by the way, everyone. I really do appreciate all the birthday messages. All thanks to Moch as well. I went long at 2.5. I might short at 2.8 then. I'm going to see the price action today. Since today we got natural gas storage news. Okay, which moves the market a lot. Okay, I did not know that. But yeah, we're at some nice resistance. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of that position. It's just a nice level to short from. Price action hasn't really shown much signs that we're holding it either yet. But yeah, if you do say we got that news, I suppose what would that be like in a couple of hours time from now? That could probably get the market moving a little bit. Can you please take a look at gold and probable next trade? Okay, so I mean my next trade I'm looking at is definitely pound CAD for some long. So I could be getting long in a few moments if I get the candle that I'm looking for. But we'll have to see with pound CAD, because at the same time we could still break through the zone. Nothing's confirmed yet. But anyway, so which pair am I taking a look at next? So I'll go through some indices, US 30, NAS 100. Godfrey did request that earlier on, and then I'll take a look at gold as well. Thank you so much, Leo. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, so indices, like I said, I'm still pretty bullish on them. US 30 for me looks like a really solid buy setup if we can see some retracements. I really like the price action. We kind of fake to go to the downside, taking out those lows there, and then use that kind of liquidity to get moving to the upside. So any retracements to the downside, basically looking to buy those dips there. If the market does fall off, respect some structure, I'm expecting it to bounce right back up again. This would be a nice level to do that as well, back down at 34,600 as well. So yeah, going forward with US 30, buys look good. Again, from a weekly standpoint, this had a really nice breaking retest of this neckline here. Had a lovely inverse head and shoulders on the higher time frames. As we can see there, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, snap through that neckline. Now we're getting a nice fancy retest of that area. So the next kind of step for US 30 for myself will be back to the highs there at 35,554, and maybe back to the highs down the left as well, if you can see some really big momentum coming through. But at least these highs look pretty good in terms of probability to be tested again, maybe taking out as well. So going forward with US 30, you've got a lot of higher time frame backing. It makes sense in the higher time frame. So dropping back down to the full H, dropping back down to the hourly, you're basically just looking at a retest of structure. So we do have a lovely one over here, which is obviously that resistance turned will be turned support. We haven't tested it. You did get a nice breakout of this candle, haven't come back to revisit. So that's a nice fresh level of support to trade from. But depending how bullish we are, we might not see such a big pullback all the way to that zone there. We might just get some miniature pullbacks. Maybe news might push us to the downside. We start holding onto this level and we get a nice bounce to the upside again. So if you're looking at US 30, I'll keep an eye on 34.09 for some buys, as well as 34,600 for some buys. In terms of targets, there's a big level here on the left. You can see where all of these wicks are, all of these big stabs to the downside. This is definitely a notable area that I would look to book some profit at. If you are trading there. There we go. Book some profit at, but of course, like we said on the weekly chart, there's a good chance we come back to the highs there. So that's more of a longer term target, back at the highs there. But this is definitely one I would consider at. So yeah, US 30 going forward, I do like the longs on this one. Just need to see some retracement. NASDAQ, we'll take a look as well. So NASDAQ kind of looking at the exact same thing as well. It's not as crystal clear as US 30. US 30 had some really nice higher time frame backing, higher time frame patterns. Whereas US 100 NASDAQ is kind of just a big bullish trend right now. I wouldn't say there's a particular pattern that tells us that we could head higher, apart from the trend that we're looking at. So although US 30 does look a lot better with the high time frames, going to the low time frames, NAS 100 is still looking pretty good. We broke through some highs recently, giving us a higher high. So again, for NAS, looking at some pullbacks. I did say yesterday some buys down here would be nice, down at 15,100. Again, we broke through this area, not much pullback to retest it. But of course, we have formed another higher low here, so we could come back, retest this area, and then push bullish as well from there. But this would be the preferred area, 15,100. But of course, beggars can't be choosers in these markets. The market will retrace wherever it wants to. If it comes to an area that we're looking at, happy days, we can look to execute. If it doesn't, it's not our trade. But yeah, going forward, I do see more upside. Again, in terms of targets, we've got the highs up here. We can target 15,800, 15,876 as well. So that is where I'm looking for price to get to for NAS. And S&P, similar situation as well. Prices broke through some key structure. We had a lovely higher low back down over here. So now I'm looking at some corrections, retest some structure, and again, some buys back to the highs there too. So going forward, I'm seeing a lot more upside for the indices. Okay, I'll take a look at gold. Gold's been very, very popular today. Abdul, take a look at dollar Swiss. I think it's a very good area of confidence for sell. Did I say sell? I can't see because I got a little heart blocking the way. Retesting prior resistance. Okay, we'll take a look at dollar Swiss as well. But yeah, gold for me is still pretty bullish. So I would still favor buys in the lower time frames at the moment because, again, we are still pretty consistent with the higher low. Still seeing good momentum in the market as well in terms of the buys. Really good momentum, so I would have to favor buys for now. Like I said, in the higher time frames, I do see gold rolling over eventually, but all I'm seeing consistent high after high after high and really good momentum breaking to the upside as well. It's not like we're getting sluggish price action like we got down here. This is very sluggish price action, so we were expecting price to eventually pop up, whereas here we're still seeing a lot of evidence that the buyers are in control. So going forward with gold, definitely intraday buys look good. I'm waiting for the bigger sell-off. If it happens, then I'll be here for it. If not, I'll let gold do its thing. DXY, let me touch on that one quickly because DXY came back to a very key area yesterday and sort of did break through as well. So DXY for me is just a very interesting one. Again, I'm not kind of cementing any concrete biases with DXY and my directional bias with dollar until after NFP because I think NFP could probably set the tone probably for the rest of September going forward, especially with DXY where we're trading right now. Because originally for the DXY, when we came into this area, I said there's a good chance DXY could form the next major lower high and drop to the downside and see another swing to the downside. However, we obviously broke out to the upside as well, and then we could have been looking for a retest to continue higher back to some of these levels on the left as well. So I can see DXY going both ways, and I think with such a big news impact, such a big news event like NFP, that could really set the tone in terms of direction, in terms of where we are trading right now, whether we're going to break through or hold. If we just see a big candle coming back down here, then yeah, we probably are forming a lower high and we could start ticking off some of these areas as we work to the downside. Likewise to the upside as well. If you start closing back above, then we've got some healthy targets there to the upside to aim for as well. So that will probably set my my directional bias going forward with DXY. So pairs like Euro USD, I'll be looking for some trades, whether up or down, we'll wait and see. But yeah, nothing quite cemented just yet for myself. Apart from like AUD/USD and NZD/USD, for those pairs, everything looks bearish from the higher time frames down. So I do favor these to fall. So even if we do shoot up suddenly for AUD/USD and NZD/USD, I'm still looking for a lower high to form, unless we do something crazy, of course. Okay, so dollar Swiss, we'll take a look. Pound CAD wouldn't wait for it to tap the trend line again on the hour. Which trend line are you talking about? Let's have a look. See, I suppose maybe this trend line you're talking about. To me, it looks like price has already tapped it, unless you're talking about a different trend line. Not too sure which other one you'd be talking about. But yeah, pound CAD has already come into that area of confidence for myself. So if pound CAD can give me a shift in momentum in this area here, I'm ready to take the trade. But yeah, if it's a different trend line, let me know. But if it's that trend line, for me, price has already had a good test of it, testing nice level of resistance as well, nice shift in momentum, and lines up very, very well with the high time frames as well. So if we can hold this area here, I do see pound CAD getting ready for its next move. But of course, we need to wait for that entry signal. We still got 20 minutes before this candle closes. So still need to see a lot happen in those 20 minutes. If not, then I'd have to wait for the candle after to give me anything. And at the same time, we could still obviously break through the zone as well. We don't have to hold it. Thank you so much, Arona, for subscribing. So at the same time, we can still potentially break through as well. Nothing's confirmed yet in my books. Okay, so dollar Swiss. You said you're looking for some sells there, I believe. For some sells retesting prior resistance. So yeah, sells up here are not a bad idea. I was talking about dollar Swiss quite a lot at the start of the stream because we do have this potential head and shoulder pattern here, which is kind of like the left over here, the head over there, and possibly the right shoulder over there. So it does kind of line up for a head and shoulder pattern quite well, actually. It's just dollar Swiss is quite choppy, but for me personally, I'll be waiting to see if we can break through the support area first, which is this level here. If we can break through that, that will show to me that, okay, dollar Swiss is well and truly, well, not well and truly, nothing's 100%, but most likely forming a lower high, getting ready for a bigger move to the downside into these lows here. Because again, higher time frames still pretty bearish, as we can see. But we've been pushing to the upside for quite a while in the 4H time frame. So I was looking for, still am kind of looking for a push back to this area here. And potentially after one more move up, then we might sell off. So I can see kind of two scenarios where we could see dollar Swiss sell off, either from that right shoulder where we are right now, or a little bit higher at that 0.89 area. So it's up to dollar Swiss. But if we are going to form that right shoulder, then I will wait for that neckline to snap, and then I'll look for some pullbacks after and some shorts. Thank you so much, Samuel, for subscribing. So I'll wait for price to form that right shoulder, break through the neckline, then give me some lower highs and lower lows to work with. And you've got some pretty clean targets to work with back down there. So that makes a lot of sense to me for dollar Swiss. Even if we do see one more push up again, and if you start creating some bearish structure off the back of that, then again, shorts look equally as good there as well. But I'm not too particularly keen in getting to that right shoulder, just because I can see the possibility of us pushing a tag higher to then sell off. But it could work as well. So I don't want to talk you out taking a position that you want to take based on your plan and whatnot. But that's just kind of my 2 pence, how I'm looking at gold. Not gold. Don't know where I got gold from. Dollar Swiss going forward. Good gold sells. Yeah, I do like gold sells, but just not yet. Everything is still pretty bullish. I think selling gold right now is a little bit too aggressive. Of course, if you got something in your plan that says sell now, then of course follow your plan. But for me, myself, that is just way too bullish for me to short gold. All I'm seeing is consistent higher highs and higher lows. I'm seeing strong momentum. It's just way too bullish. It is a nice zone to sell at, just not getting any signs that we are respecting it just yet. Thank you so much, Bernardo, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Dollar yen, okay, we'll take a look. Euro yen, pound USD 1.2671. Okay, are those your trades? Is that what you're selling from too? Let me go take a look, because you did say that earlier, didn't you? Okay, where is that? 1.26751. 26751. So that's more or less around there-ish. I know that's a 6-ish, but that will do. To 1.28022. Okay, so you're bullish, I suppose. 1.28, basically 1.28. So back to the highs down the left. So yeah, not a bad opportunity. I'm pretty bearish with pound going forward, so I wouldn't be buying personally myself. Although I'm looking to buy pound cow, which is a very similar opportunity, but at least for that one, the trend on the higher time frame still looks pretty good. But yeah, with pound USD, we have been forming these lower lows and lower highs, so I'm not quite bearish on this one myself. Quite bullish, sorry, on this one myself. So yeah, I personally wouldn't be looking to long. Not to say that it won't work, but it's been declining, so I'd rather be looking for sales in this type of market conditions. In fact, I wouldn't try and look for trades at all, because it's just way too choppy. But if I had to, I'd rather be looking for sales. But yeah, we have had some nice momentum, of course, so the buys of the retest some of these areas here does make some sense, I would have to admit. But my guess is that it might be short term for a bigger sell later on, something similar to like Euro, for example. Might see some shorter term upside for some longer term downside. So that's kind of my outlook on Euro USD. And you said you got 1.8746. 1.8746. That's roughly around here to 1.09837. 09837. Okay, that's past the highs there. 837 is up at this area here, more or less. So yeah, I mean, I love the risk reward. I love the risk reward in that trade, and I actually do like this position. I like this position a lot more than pound USD. I can see more upside here for euro. The only reason why I like euro a lot better is because we've seen some clear signs that euro USD is broken through some structure here, and it's had a really strong impulse correction and followed through with that as well. So I do like the bias for euro. It would have been nice if we retested the high there, but euro had a little bit of a deeper correction, quite a steep correction. But I do like the buys going forward for euro. Whether we get to the high on over here, that's a different question. But back to these highs look of good probability. I would suggest that if you're in this trade, maybe a smart decision could be looking at maybe securing some profit up at those areas, some partials potentially, just in case we do sell off the back of that. But yeah, I do like the Euro USD buy. Pound USD is just a very, very choppy market, as we can see. So I personally don't like buying or selling anything in here. Whereas euro looks good for a push up. And finally, you said gold 1939 to 1958. So it looks like that's another buy position there. 1939, which is over here-ish somewhere. And 1958, which is over 45, around about there. Okay, so I'm not too sure in particular what you're targeting. Of course, you know that yourself. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I do like gold. I do like gold for the short-term buys because obviously gold has been breaking structure quite significantly to the left. Haven't seen any signs of any bearish structure anytime soon. Just been seeing consistent higher highs and higher lows. Really nice push to the upside there. Buys in the retest of that level look good as well. I did favor that before. So yeah, I really do like the gold longs. I have to say I do like the gold longs. I am still bearish on the pair. So again, I do think the gold longs will be shorter term for eventually a bigger move to the downside. Whether we get here or not, of course, that'll be up to the market. But in terms of the entry, looking to buy here does make sense, and a push back to the highs looks pretty high probability in my books anyway. So yeah, I do like gold, I do like euro, pound USD just a little bit choppy. But yeah, gold longs, euro longs look pretty good. How's pound CAD doing? So it's still giving wicks the downside. I like the wicks, I have to say. I do like the wicks. It shows that price is trying to break through that area of confidence, but failing to do so. So I do like what I'm seeing there for pound CAD, but still no entry signal yet. So in 10 minutes, this candle's going to close. So unless in 10 minutes we flip bullish and engulf that prior bearish candle, there's an entry for me. If we don't do that in 10 minutes, then I'll have to wait for the next candle. But nonetheless, we're still seeing good wicks. So even if I do have to wait for the next candle, we're still seeing really good evidence that the market is holding on to that area. So next candle shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so we'll touch on dollar yen and euro yen. Agreed, actually just drawing mine a little different. And yeah, I mean, you can look at the market the same way, but of course, every person will draw things a little bit differently. Unless you're using like a 100% mechanical system in the market. If you're using some type of discretion, whether a little bit or a lot, you know, people are going to draw things a little bit differently. There's no necessarily correct or wrong way to do something. It's only a correct and wrong way in comparison to your plan and how you've planned to analyze things and how you plan to trade. So as long as you're doing everything by the book from your plan and it makes sense to you as well, then yeah, we're probably going to draw things differently. Yeah, I mean, grand scheme of things, most of it will be similar, but maybe a little level here or something like that. A structural point will differ, which is perfectly normal. Thank you so much, David, for subscribing as well. Okay, so I'll go take a look at Euro Yen and Dollar Yen as well. I will be live again later today, ladies and gentlemen, with Trade Nick on his channel. So feel free to pop over to that if you are free later today in about an hour and a half. The Loyalty Family pound cow 1 hour candle close, about to close with bullish pin bar. Possibly. We still got 9 minutes left. Again, it's very, very important to wait for your candle closures. I remember back in the day, I used to jump the gun so easily with my candlesticks. I used to just get in just because it started to look bullish. It could have 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left. I'll still enter anyway. And it's just kind of having that fear of missing out, that eagerness to want to get into a trade so you don't get in at a slightly worse price. You can maximize your risk reward a little bit, have a tighter stop loss. But it took me a long time to learn that just waiting for the candle closure not only is just a lot less stressful, because you just know that, okay, at this particular time when the candle does close, now's the time to enter. Anything outside of that time is technically nothing for me to do. So it makes things a lot simpler, and it's just a lot less stressful as well, because then 100% that, okay, there is a bullish engulfing, or there isn't a candlestick pattern that I trade. But yeah, we'll wait 8 minutes to see how that does close. In the meantime, we'll take a look at Euro Yen and pound, Euro Yen and Dollar Yen. Oil, okay, we'll take a look. No problem. Giovanni, candlestick, candlelight. I'm looking shorts on Euro Yen. Okay, we'll go touch on Dollar Yen first, and we'll take a look at Euro Yen after. So yeah, Dollar Yen going forward, I do like the buys for this one. All I'm seeing is consistent higher highs and higher lows on the higher time frames. This is the daily chart. As we can see here, consistent higher highs and higher lows. 4H being pretty consistent as well. Higher highs and higher lows going. Oh, missed the high there. Higher highs and higher lows, and again higher highs and higher lows, and probably again higher highs and higher lows. So everything to me is still pointing to the upside. So if you can get back above 146,500, I really do like the buys going forward for Dollar Yen. If you can get back above that, then I'm seeing price coming right back to the highs there on the left, and probably a lot higher as well. We have snapped back underneath pretty aggressively. This was like a big fake out to the upside, taking some stop losses above here with that big push, and then of course seeing some continuation off the back of that. But what I'm expecting to see happen is a high low somewhere, and then I'll start pushing up again. So my bias for Dollar Yen is still bullish. I would like to see price get back above 146,500, and then yeah, looking just to keep that pressure onto the upside, buying those dips and expecting price to keep coming back to those swing highs. So Dollar Yen buys look good. I wouldn't buy now though, just a little bit choppy, kind of moving sideways, but some clear signs back above 146,500. That tells me, okay, we could see a big continuation here. Euro Yen, you said you're looking at shorts. So yeah, Euro Yen shorts are not bad. I'm just still pretty bullish on the pair because we haven't broken through any significant structure. With Euro Yen, we have failed at the highs quite miserably. Now. We've had about 5 attempts at these highs and we have broke through, but we haven't sustained that breakout. So Euro Yen from a bullish standpoint is still bullish, but obviously showing signs that we might look at a bigger retracement. But that doesn't warrant me to look for any sells. I need price to start breaking through some significant structure. If you start breaking through this low, okay, that tells me that we'll probably see a bigger shift to the downside. If we don't, we could just see some downside here, maybe retest some areas and keep pushing up again. I wouldn't be surprised if Euro Yen keeps doing that to the upside as well. It's been bullish for quite a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we just keep pumping. So yeah, Euro Yen I am pretty bullish on. I know we're failing at the highs, so I'm kind of in pause mode right now for Euro Yen. Just waiting for a bit more information. If we can start breaking through the highs again, then I'll be much more keen to be looking to long the pair. If I can see a break to the upside, a retest of structure, then yeah, I would be keen to go long. But until then, I'm kind of just pausing right now. But I wouldn't look for sells. Of course, if there's something that you're looking at that looks good for you from a sell side of things, then of course do what you have to do. But I'm definitely not interested in sells. Okay, oil we'll take a look at next. Inverse head and shoulder on Dollar Yen. Which time frame, Casey? Was it Cassie? Yeah, I'm probably saying with my British accent, Casey. Casey Cassie, I'm not too sure, but we'll go with Casey because I like the sound of it. Okay, so dollar yen, you said inverse head and shoulder. Where's that inverse head and shoulder? Are you talking about this maybe? Not the tiniest one in the world, but possibly. Maybe you're talking about this. Definitely not the tiniest one in the world either, but possibly as well. So yeah, I'm not quite seeing the head and shoulder. Maybe if it's that, possibly. But I mean, it doesn't really change the fact. If we do see that inverse head and shoulder play out and we see a push to the upside, that's great. But I'll still only be looking for buys above 146,500 anyway. But yeah, it does look like we are respecting that support level there. So I suppose that's what you're talking about. But yeah, it's not the tidiest one in the world. Anyway, so let me go take a look at oil. Okay, so oil's looking pretty bullish. So I did say with oil, the fact that we're breaking through the highs on the left, 81.50, buys are looking a lot better now, and they've been pretty consistent with the higher lows here, and now we're breaking through some key structure. If you can see some decent pullbacks, in fact, if you can keep this momentum up, I would say 81.50 will look good for some buys. At the moment, I would only look for buys down here at 80.89. Back in this area here, retest that resistance, now turns support. But now that we're starting to push as well to the upside, and if you can keep that momentum going, a retest of this structure looks good as well. So yeah, I do think buys look good for oil shorter term. We are still in a very significant level of resistance in the higher time frame chart. Particularly the daily chart, we're still in a very crucial level of resistance. So I wouldn't be so overly confident getting into some longs for oil and looking for a bigger move, which could happen, but you just don't want to be jumping into into buys into such an area. So I think buys are good for oil, but I would keep it shorter term until we officially see a breakout on the daily. So maybe you could see a push back to the highs, but just keep in mind we're trading a big level of resistance here. So if you can take a profit sooner rather than later, I would go for it. But yeah, from an hourly standpoint, 4H hourly standpoint, some pullbacks and longs look good. 81.50, I'll keep an eye for a retest of, and also 80.62 looks pretty good for some longs as well. But yeah, I do favor some more upside for oil. But yeah, we do have a minute and 37 seconds left before that hourly candle closes. How is pound CAD looking? Okay, so yeah, pound CAD still looking bearish. So again, still being patient. Price is in the entry zone, in that entry area. So I am looking for a bullish candle to get me involved. But it doesn't look like we're going to see it unless we see a big pullback in the next 1 minute and 10 seconds. I doubt we'll see an entry candle. So I'll be waiting for the next candle, which will close at 1 p.m. UK time. And then I'll make my trading decision off the back of that. But yeah, we're still holding. We're still firing some nice wicks into the zone. Just no shift in momentum. No real entry signal yet. But we are holding the area. So we are seeing some good signs. Just need to wait for that confirmation. I'll let you guys know in my Telegram channel though, if I do get into any positions, especially this pound CAD position. I'll let you know if I do find the entry trigger. If not, you will not hear from me in the Telegram. Just hit the mic there. Apologies. Dream Snapper FX. My trades in profit. Nice. Congratulations. Risky Gaming. Silver, is it good for sell? Okay. We'll take a look. Emmanuel just took a short for DXY. Hope it's good. Okay, we'll take a look at DXY. What time frame? Rohan, what's up? Go on the live stream. Are you close to the surface in profits as far as your challenge goes? No, I'm down a little over 1% on the challenge so far. So yeah, I've been stagnant on the challenge throughout all of August. Had the first trade, which was a loss, and then I was down 0.5%, and then I had 4 break evens in a row. And then I took the 80 cab position yesterday, which was a loss again. So I'm down just above 1% on the challenge. So again, still a long way to go. Again, not the best string of trades ever, but again, not out the blue. 2 losses and 4 break evens. that's it's normal. But of course, I would like a win in there sometimes. So hopefully you can get it pretty soon. But risk is managed well. Still got a lot of buffer room. I think the challenge is negative 12%. That's when the cutoff mark is. But still down negative 1% with 6 trades taken so far. So we'll see how that pans out. Hopefully I can get the video out tomorrow, if not next Friday. Candle just closed. No entry trigger there on Pound Cat. So we'll wait for the next one. Okay, I'll quickly go through silver and the DXY, then I'll wrap things up. So silver, you said you're looking to short this one. I wouldn't look to short silver, personally. Could be seeing a push back to the high there on the left. We're starting to break through some resistance there on the left as well. Looking at the lower time frames, you've got a beautiful level of resistance here, which the market was respecting for quite a while. Could see a retest of this zone, possibly for a bigger move to the upside, coming back into the highs down the left at 25. So I do like the buys here for silver. I'm not a big fan of the sells, I have to admit. Still seeing really crucial momentum to the upside, and the market's still creating higher highs and higher lows. So I'm personally more leaning towards the upside of things for silver, back to 25 and maybe 25.2. DXY sells look okay. We're coming back into a nice zone here as well. There's potential for a move to the downside. I think the news will play a big factor if the trade is successful or not, because we do have some news coming out later. But in terms of location, I do agree with it. We've obviously seen some nice momentum to the downside for the DXY. Just need to see what we can do at this particular area for some sells. Still not really seeing much signs on the hourly chart. So let's see if we can get some bearish candles. But yeah, keep an eye out for the news coming out later, because I think that will probably be a make or break. Guys, thank you so much for coming onto the stream. We have come to the end of it. No worries. Good thing to come to those who wait. Very true. No time limit, so still not bad. Of course. That's why I was so keen to get a no time limit position, no time limit challenge, because I know that if I do go through a string of drawdowns, string of losers, that as long as I manage my risk, which I know I can do, then there's a very, very slim chance I'll fail the challenge with no time limit. It might take me a little bit longer because of my conservative style trading with my management system. But again, if it's taking me a bit longer to pass, then I'm not really big bothered. I get the refund back, and then I get the 100k account to trade with. So that is still the plan. But hopefully episode out tomorrow. If not, you'll see one next week. But guys, thank you so much for coming to the stream. Anis, Mosh, really appreciate it. Mosh, great to have you back on the stream. Hopefully you can see a lot more of you going forward. Anis, appreciate it as always, and everyone else as well. Really do appreciate coming to the stream. And thank you so much for the birthday messages as well, even though it's one day early. Can never be upset with that. But guys, I will be live again with Trading Nick in about an hour and a half. So if you guys are free, feel free to tune in. I'll leave a link to that in Telegram. If I do get an entry on Pound CAD, I'll let you know in Telegram as well. At the moment, it's still pretty bearish, but that can change very, very quickly. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you so much for coming to the stream. Stay alert with the news coming out later. Don't want any blown accounts. But have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all next week.